So, Mark, there's a big shocker here in Las Vegas. The All-Net Arena apparently is having funding issues. According to a county commissioner, they may not be able to get funding for this thing. I know it's a big shock to you, but if they don't get it by September, apparently they lose all of their permits.
I mean, rumor is they can't afford Chris Angel's requirements for his new contract to perform there. So that's the holdup. So hopefully they get through. Chris Angel does a not sold out show with 12 people in the stands after they build this $1 billion arena that nobody wants to go to.
On a serious note, can we just get this land in somebody else's hands finally so that somebody could... They've been trying to build this arena for 10, 15 years. So maybe we can finally get them to lose it and somebody else can get it. It's a prime piece of real estate, especially with Fontainebleau opening soon. So, yeah, pipe dreams out the door. But I suspect we'll probably see another round of this. I don't know.
You don't like watching dump trucks just driving circles on a dirt pad over and over again?
Mark, we have a lot of updates from around town, and we'll start at Rio. Yep. Now, we know that Dreamscape bought Rio, and then they announced that they were partnering with Hyatt, but that was a couple of years ago, and to this day, Caesars Entertainment's still managing the property, although we know it's going to turn over to Dreamscape sometime in 2023, but we haven't seen anything, and Caesars has let this place go to hell. I mean, it's terrible, and they've just basically run it into the ground, and finally, we're seeing some signs of hope. While Dreamscape has not taken over, the old Carnival World Buffet space has been walled off, and apparently, according to Vital Vegas, a food hall is going in there. So, of course, there's going to be a food hall. But the Carnival World Buffet is one of the more famous buffets in Las Vegas. It was really the first one to bring in those separate food stations. It was a massive place. Back in the day, Rio even had a separate seafood buffet, which they eventually merged in. But buffet culture at Rio was always big, an end of an era, I suppose. But it's good to see some construction, some progress at Rio.
Yeah, we think about 4 years ago, the Eat Around the World or whatever it was called, buffet of buffet passes. And people love that. They'd use their celebration dinner if they could finagle their way into it, because sometimes they'd say you couldn't. But people would, pull that off and go around, and Rio, I think, was one of them. So it's kind of sad to see, but also good to see some money put into that. I think Vital Vegas said they're spending $22,000 just to put up the walls. That's probably the most money Rio's seen put into it. They can't even buy $22,000 worth of pillows. So it's good to see them put some money back into it. I wish it wasn't a food hall, but at least, Caesars doesn't own it anymore. So maybe we won't see all the same rehash, Gordon Ramsay, fish and chips and all this stuff. Maybe it'll be new, local, or something unique compared to other food halls.
Yeah, they might have an issue here, right? I mean, the rest of the property is sort of dilapidated, and they're trying to renovate it into a higher-end Hyatt and a very modern property. Will a modern food hall with kind of higher-end concepts work there until they get everything else done? We'll see, but it's good to see, that. And it's a good thing that you bring up that buffet pass, because just think about in the last few years how things have changed so much. Paris's buffet is gone. Pretty much all the buffets are gone except for Caesar's Bacchanal buffet. And just a huge change in what Las Vegas is when it comes to buffet lovers. I remember lots of people loved that pass and hit it hard because it gave you 24 hours from when you started, so you could strategically time it and hit up
time it for dinner
days.
One night and then just pile through it, man.
the good old days. The good old days. Now you got to pay for each little type of food that you want to get. So there was some other Caesars-related news at Linq, and honestly, I have no idea. I've tried to figure out why this has happened. A commenter left a comment asking us, and then I kind of tried to dig into it. But most of the table games, or all of the table games in that area over by Guy's Restaurant at Linq, have now been removed, and it's just sitting empty there. So I don't know if they're going to replace them with electronic table games, more slots, or they have some other plans for that space. But just suddenly they ripped out the table games.
Yeah, and Linq's kind of a weird setup. They have little stations here and there for table games. It's not a good flow through there. And then you have O'Shea's area that has some table games too. So it's kind of like a hodgepodge, it feels like. And this is kind of a little weird area. So I don't know what they'll do. I hate the virtual or the video table games with the one person and one guy taking a hit can mess up everybody else's car. It's just, they're annoying. But I could see slot machines or maybe the video table games, something like that. And, we've always known that slots are a better better payout for the casino, so I wouldn't be surprised if they just put those in there, as well as you don't have to staff them as much, and the issues they have with finding dealers and everything else.
Yeah, and it's a good point. This is probably their least attractive area for table games. They do have more games in the middle of the casino, plus at O'Shea's, so maybe this just wasn't doing well. It was a weird area to have games anyway. It seems like it should be a slot area, just being off the walkway there, right in your guy's restaurant as you kind of pass through Linq. So we'll see what they put there, but no news on that yet. We did get news from Resorts World that they're going to already be making a venue change. Genting Palace is their flagship Chinese restaurant, and it's a beautiful high-end facility, and there's a lounge attached to it, Genting Palace Lounge, with like jade, and it's a beautiful lounge. Hopefully I have some video I can throw up for you guys. But now they're going to redo it as the Golden Monkey. Darn it! All right, I'm never... Oh, my God. So now they're going to change it into the Golden Monkey Tiki Bar starting April 17th. And it's going to be a tropical escape providing a modern take on the classic tiki bar concept. You're a big tiki bar fan. They're going to have all the kind of classic drinks plus bowls of like rum punch and all kinds of different cocktails for people. This is right near the Hilton lobby if you're looking in Resorts World. I think it was already a beautiful space. It looks like they're going to add more monkeys and make it more tropical. It seems weird to have it next to the Genting Palace restaurant, but I'm excited for a tiki bar on the Strip.
Yeah, I've walked by there. I've never had a drink or anything in there, but it always looked beautiful inside, and it kind of gives you that vibe, like a dark, cooler vibe. So I could see the transition being somewhat easy. And tiki bars are amazing. I can't believe there's not more in Vegas. We've talked about the off the Strip options, and there's a couple really good ones. Super cool, but it's nice to have it at a casino. You think that there would be every casino would have a tiki bar. It's perfect. It's kind of weird that it is coming from their flagship, restaurant, and this was kind of the lounge attached to it. So it's surprising that they need to change that up already, but I'm super excited for it.
Now, speaking of bars, Flight Club Vegas opened at the Venetian, and we talked about this when they announced it, 6 months, whatever it was ago. Basically a dart venue, it has a carousel bar. It looks really good. We saw some pictures this week of it, and I got to get over there. Looks like another unique venue, one that I want to check out and throw some darts.
Is it really a carousel bar if it doesn't spin, though? I mean, can you go? It looks amazing. But, we've been to a couple carousel bars that spin, and there's, there used to be one at Circus Circus used to have it fully functioning, which was kind of cool. And so we've seen it in New Orleans, has an amazing carousel bar. So I would have loved to see that in motion, but the dart area looks like the coolest dart area I've ever seen in the pictures, like the setup, the board, the lighting. It looks really, really cool.
Now, I just had an idea. Circus Circus, when it was built, used to have a carousel out on the Strip, a real carousel, and it didn't last all that long. But they should build a carousel bar where that used to be, in that empty parking lot they don't use out front. Build a really nice carousel bar out there. I guarantee you people would be there, especially now that you're going to have more pedestrian traffic with Fontainebleau right there. So there you go, Circus Circus. Free idea.
Get it done.
Yeah. They got to finish the paint first.
Took them 20 years to paint the top, but they're going to build out a huge bar. It would be amazing. It would be, I mean, that little area in Caesars that was always kind of vacant and has that one bar there. Something cool there would be perfect. And, they just have a random bar sitting there and nobody ever goes to.
All right. And last thing from around town, Allegiant Stadium is getting yet another soccer game match from, huge teams. We know that we missed out on getting a World Cup game here because apparently Allegiant Stadium was built too narrow, just slightly too narrow for FIFA standards. But on July 30th, Manchester United and Germany's Borussia Dortmund, and please forgive me if I mispronounce that, are going to play here. So another major soccer event. We saw U.S.-Mexico is coming back this year as well. So soccer is coming, to Allegiant Stadium, even if we won't get a World Cup game.
Yeah, and if you watch, I know you watch Ted Lasso, so we all know pitches can be different. So they should have made it work. One size isn't the same size, but I know there's minimum standards and all that. But this will be a cool event, something cool to check out. It'll be packed. It's a big following, two big names. People will come in from all over. So just another cool sporting event Vegas is throwing, and maybe this will lead to a MLS team. Who knows?
Yeah, it was funny. One of the people who tweeted it out called it Major League Soccer, which was very confusing because, Major League Soccer is the name of our league here in the United States. But it is top-level soccer. Let's put it that way. World-class soccer coming to
top-level football.
Stadium. Football, yes. So big news out of Wynn. Awakening, their new show that replaced Le Rêve, is going dark for 2 months. And we've seen reports that they're not selling tickets very well. I've heard only mixed reviews. Very few people actually like this show. People out there might not know, but my dad worked on the opening crew of Le Rêve. He was a diver going under the water, fixing all the hydraulics. So I saw Le Rêve back during its preview days and then several times as they tweaked it. All I can say is Le Rêve, I fell asleep during the previews. It was so bad, and they tweaked it over time, made it better. It seems like they're having similar issues with Awakening, not doing well, but it's sort of shocking for them to just close the show for 2 months. They said beginning April 17th, Wynn Las Vegas will temporarily pause performances of Awakening to allow for an extended rehearsal period. Consistent with the resort's commitment to excellence and quality, Wynn Las Vegas is committed to bringing a superior vision of Awakening to audiences. So basically, back to the drawing board.
Yeah, basically we suck, and we're going to try to do a whole new show. And I think that they, like you said, they had these issues with Le Rêve. I would have loved to see Le Rêve come back. It was a popular show, great reviews, long running. I don't know why you ditch it just because of COVID, unless, you know, all those performers went elsewhere and you weren't going to be able to recreate it. So you kind of jumped off of that, or maybe it's all the water and stuff sitting there. I don't know. Messed it up. But it's just crazy to see how much they put into, how much money and effort they put in these shows, and how they can bomb, and they have to retool it. You know, they can't just let it slowly go away because they spent all this money they got to recoup. So hopefully it comes back better. It wouldn't be the first time that we see a show kind of revamp itself and come out stronger. So hopefully they pull that off, but, you know, maybe just bring Le Rêve back. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think they took out the pool for the most part, so I don't know that they can do that. I think this is another reinforcement of why we're seeing so many residencies, right? These are safer shows. Bring in a big name headline star, create a show around them. It's a much safer thing than spending hundreds of millions of dollars developing a show like Awakening, and we just don't see that in Las Vegas anymore. I guess 2 shows have debuted, really. Mad Apple, which has the Cirque name attached to it, and New York, which by all accounts has been fairly successful. And then this one, I just wonder in the future how much investment we're going to get in these unique shows, as opposed to let's just get another headliner like Resorts World has done. They've been very successful with that. You don't really need to spend the money and take on all the risk of it.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's where it is. And, you know, you'll need somebody that hopefully like an individual owner that loves these type of shows and is willing to put up the money and the risk. I don't think any of the corporate like MGM, Caesars, I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon. Unless it's like a show from somewhere else that they bring in that's proven to have a good following, like a Broadway type of thing, and they bring that in. And this is kind of why it's surprising that we don't see a lot of the smaller shows where people take the risks and will be unique. And this gives them an opportunity to grow something, build something, you know, for a smaller cost. So we're getting like double-sided here. We're losing these big, massive, unique shows, and then we've lost the small shows that were creative and unique and fun. So it's kind of sad.
You know, this is not on our agenda, but I was listening to a podcast with Penn Jillette the other day talking about, you know, Las Vegas and their, I think, 20 years at the Rio in the same showroom and how they continue to do that, how they've kind of made it work for them. And he's talking about all his magician friends in Las Vegas, you know, Matt Franco, David Copperfield. He goes down the list of all the magicians in Las Vegas and left one of them off of there. But I do wonder with Rio if Penn and Teller will stay there, because they've been such a, you know, an anchor of that place. And I think what you really have now with shows is you have magic, you have big headliners, and, you know, not much else, a few, you know, Cirque shows, and that's really it. There's not a lot of variety. There's nothing new. I remember when MGM Grand opened and they had EFX, this big, you know, technological show that was doing many things that nobody had ever done before. I don't think we're ever going to see that in Las Vegas again because of stuff like this. It's just too much risk. But, yeah, do you want to guess which magician he didn't mention?
I don't.
All right, we don't have to say
Chris Angel.
Here you go for all you fans. We hadn't talked about him in a while, so you get double Chris Angel references.
Was that really the one, though? Was that the one?
Yeah. He went down, he named like 7 or 8. Shin Lim, the guy at the Mirage, he goes down every magician in Las Vegas, and then, yeah, he left one off the list.
Because Chris Angel is just a movie producer. He just has you watch his videos. That's
All right. And speaking of movies, perfect segue, Mark Wahlberg has moved to Las Vegas. We know that. He's been in the news. They recently just launched their second Wahlburgers location, which I famously, as people who watch the show, didn't know for a long time that Wahlburgers was owned by him. The one at the Grand Bazaar Shops is their highest grossing store in the world. But he's moving to try to bring Hollywood 2.0 here. He's saying he wants to build a movie studio. He's lobbying Governor Lombardo, trying to get tax, rebates and things like that to do that. says he wants to create 10,000 jobs for his movie studio alone with high salaries. He also says he has about 15 or 20 people in his crew that have already moved here that love it here. Says cost of living is less. They can live in bigger houses, nicer neighborhoods. So he really wants to make it Hollywood 2.0, but it seems like Nevada is going to have to pay for that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's, you can drive from LA and Hollywood and all that, and there's options. It's not like getting people way out of their comfort zone. The weather's pretty good. You have a lot of natural scenery that you can work with if you want to do outside of studio stuff. So I see the point. We did something similar in Michigan years ago where we gave all these credits to bring movies in, and we wanted to build up this whole system of create jobs, essentially, that would bring the studios back time and time again, even after the subsidies went away. That did not happen. So just be cautious when you're giving out money. Make sure you have it in there that he's going to stay long term, because as soon as that money dried up, no more movies were being made around here, and anybody that was in the industry lost their job. So it was kind of like a 3-year thing where they just, hey, if we can get our movie for half the price, let's go to Michigan and shoot it. So that's what happened.
He still hasn't experienced his first Vegas summer, so maybe he's going to take the Gene Simmons route.
Go talk to Gene Simmons.
And sell his house, and he'll be like, never mind, I didn't realize it got that hot in Las Vegas. We had like the coldest March on record here, so if you really didn't know, you would think that it was just such a cold winter. So yeah, a lot of these transplants are going to get their first summer. They're going to finally figure it out. But it's good to see, somebody with his name bringing attention to Las Vegas, trying to bring that industry here. As you point out, geographically, it makes a lot of sense. It's close enough to LA. If you need to bring in talent, it's easy enough for people to get here, as opposed to a lot of places. We know a lot of things are filmed in Canada and elsewhere because of these types of tax rebates. So it's not like they're asking Nevada for something that they probably won't get elsewhere. But yeah, it's good to see the investment, and always nice to see Las Vegas on the screen as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's always cool, especially like any movie you see that's filmed in Detroit or whatever. I love it. It adds a little bit to it. So any movie that's filmed in Vegas is always cool, and something that you're like, hey, I've been there. Anywhere you've been that you can see and be like, I know that landmark. I've eaten at that restaurant or whatever. It's always fun. So it'd be kind of cool to see more films made in the area. So hopefully something good comes of it, and it creates a lot of jobs for people in the area. We've talked about how they've been getting priced out of areas and everything like that. So hopefully this brings some money back in for them.
So let us know what you guys think about anything like this. Hollywood 2.0, Rio getting a food hall, all net arena, struggling, what a shock. All of that stuff, hit us up in the comments. We'll discuss it there. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in just a couple days with another one. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good weekend, everybody.